Hello everybody, welcome back to the Hot Lead Farm, folks. I hope you are having a blessed day. Today I'm going to be talking about this Rossi. Now this is chambered in 22, I can't remember the model. It's the RS22. And yeah, this one was made in Brazil, put together in California. So yeah, it's an American owned company, but the parts are coming from Brazil. Now this is again a Rossi 22 rifle. I've had this one for a little while. You can see the magazine's empty. Set that to the side, chamber's clear and locked back. But if you can look down the end of the barrel a little bit, I don't know, we'll see. You can see how filthy that gun has gotten. Now, I have not shot 300 rounds through this gun yet, but it's gotten filthy not just because I've been shooting it, but because I've been carrying it. And I did carry it a lot this past squirrel season. Also, I carried it a lot this past coon season. And the reason I got this gun, and many of you have probably seen the videos with me carrying around a Ruger 1022, and I believe all the videos this one was in were videos that haven't been uploaded because they were failures where I didn't succeed in what I was going after. However, I have carried this gun quite a bit this past year. I have shot about 4 boxes worth through this gun, but again, I bought this gun about 2 years ago, and I paid, I think, $130 for it. So it's a cheap 22. So why would you get a cheap 22? Well, I got this one primarily because it's very, very light. I mean, this gun, you can pretty much, if you can find the center balance, you can hold it up with one finger. It is very light. Now, could I do that with the Ruger? Yeah, I'm strong enough to do that, but at the same time, the Ruger would take a whole lot more effort. And that Ruger 1022 is a better gun, I will not deny that, but I wanted something real light for carrying. That way, if I knew it was going to be a long day of me just walking around, I could have a gun with sling mounts already on it, and would be really light. Wouldn't take a whole lot to carry it all day. And so I ended up having 3 or 4 options, and I ended up going with this one. Now the gun does look decent. Again, it's got that front cover, it's got that rear sight, and I believe the first hunting video I uploaded was using this gun, and I was having trouble because I wasn't used to the way they did the sights. If you can look down through there, the blind sights are supposed to be 3-dot, and because of the way they're shaped in a little bit more of a V-notch than a block, I thought I was able to do it like a V-notch sight, where you put that front little red bead down into the bottom of this sight here. And so I was missing because all 3 dots need to be perfectly in line. Now, after that, I decided to put a scope on it, and that was the right call. But today, I'm cleaning this gun because I'm getting ready to go shoot it a whole lot more. And I'm gonna set it down real quick. This is how many more rounds I need to go through this gun to get it broken in. Now this gun's not been broken in yet. I've not shot 300 rounds through it. So that's probably going to be the next video. But I need to get 300 rounds through this gun. That way I'm not having any more problems out of it. And when I say problems, this gun's never had a light primer strike, other than some real janky ammo that I had laying around that was probably way too old to be using anyway. And I've never had one not extract, and I've never had one failure to load out of this gun, which is saying a lot for a $130 22. Because if you know anything about 22s, it's very easy to get failures to load, failures to feed. Very easy to get light primer strikes. And again, other than some really old ammunition that I just had laying around, this thing shot everything. And I do mean everything. Federals, Blazers, Winchesters, Remington, CCI, all of it. It's shot everything I've put through it. But it's not been completely broken in yet. I've only got about 150 to 160 rounds through the gun, even though it is really dirty, and that's more on me. I cleaned it when I first bought it, and I haven't cleaned it since. And no, 150 rounds shouldn't be too much gunk to mess up a gun, but at the same time, I've been carrying it through the woods a lot and other such things, so it has gotten a little dirty. So we are going to do a quick clean, not a deep clean. A deep clean would be that bolt right there. I'd be taking that out, taking the stock, the receiver, and the barrel completely apart, and cleaning every component. That's not what I'm doing today. I'm doing a real quick, easy clean. Today I'm going to be using this gun cleaner right here, this birchwood. Now there's a reason for that. This has become my new favorite. And yes, there's plenty of gun cleaners on the market like CLP. In my opinion, several of these gun cleaners have significantly dropped in quality. This one is about like the old nitrogen-based gun cleaner that we used to use, and it honestly works like a charm. Now I'm going to just spray down in here, and I'm going to be using a brush today. Now this stuff dries really quick, really rapidly, really fast, and that's a good thing for me because of as much as I use when I'm cleaning a gun. I want it to get clean, but at the same time I want the cleaning agent I'm using not to just stick there and stay there. I want it to dry really quick and really fast, so that when I come back through with my gun oil, it's a dry and ready to apply. Now, I'm gonna close the bolt on that a couple times. And as you can see, pretty filthy. Again, that's my fault. I cleaned the gun when I first got it. Haven't cleaned it since, and I've been taking it hunting among several other activities that I've been doing with this gun. And so today I'm just cleaning the chamber a little bit, getting a little bit of that gunk out, making sure that's not hurting the performance of the gun. If it is, well then it's certainly not through its break-in period. But as long as it's not hurting the performance of the gun, I probably could have left it alone. But I'd prefer making sure. Now, next, I'm going to run this brush down through the barrel of the gun really quick and really fast. And then we're going to use gun oil and get this thing completely cleaned out. Again, I'm not doing a deep clean. just a real quick down and dirty cleaning of this firearm, because a lot of times this is just what a lot of people do, and this gun should shoot the same regardless whether it's been cleaned or not after 10 rounds or 1,000. But at the same time, you still want to maintain your guns. You still want to make sure you're trying to keep them some semblance of clean. I'm not doing a deep clean today because I don't feel like it's warranted or necessary right now. After this next season is over, I will do a deep clean, but sometimes just cleaning the barrel and the chamber is all you need to fix any problems you might be having with the gun. The only problem I'm having currently with this firearm is accuracy. Now, I do have a cheaper scope on there, but we've owned scopes just like this before, and these scopes will hold zero quite efficiently and quite effectively. As long as you're doing everything right, it should hold zero. So again, before I just go blaming the scope, and yes, I'm using a gun rest when I'm shooting this to sight it in, so I am taking a huge amount of human error out. And when I say huge, I do mean huge, because every human has human error, and if you've shot for any length of time, you'll know that it's quite common that later on you'll look back and realize you was jerking the trigger, or after you've shot a couple rounds you'll realize you're doing something that maybe is causing the gun to not shoot as accurately. So I decided to take all human error as best I could out of the equation by using a gun rest with this gun. And for the most part it seemed to have worked. Now, this is the second time ever that I'm cleaning this firearm. And the accuracy problem I'm having is that I'm getting groups, and they're normally an inch group, but that's an inch group at 50 yards. That needs to be an inch group at 100 yards with a rifle like this, which, again, this is a $100 gun, so what do you expect is probably what you're sitting there at home saying. Again, really no light primer strikes on anything except really old ammunition. No failures to feed, no failures to eject. Only problem I've had is the accuracy. And there might be somebody sitting at home going, don't be nitpicky. Well, I'm not. I just prefer my rifles to be very, very, very precise. If I'm going to be going out squirrel hunting, that 1 inch grouping could be the difference between taking home a squirrel or completely missing. And it could also be the difference between actually effectively putting down the animal or just injuring it. And I don't want to injure an animal. I want to make sure that if I'm shooting at something, I'm not just going to hurt it. I want to make sure I put it down. Now, this gun has been doing very decently, very adequately, and the reason I'm cleaning it is because before, when I was shooting it before season ever began, this gun was shooting 1/4 inch groups at 50 yards. Now, yes, I sight in my 22s at 50 yards. There's no point in going further. If you're squirrel hunting, you'll know why. Probably about the farthest distance you need to be shooting is about 60 yards. You don't have a stabilization. You don't have stabilization or rests other than leaning against a tree unless you bring a stabilizer or a rest with you. And some people do. Sometimes I do. But even so, about 50 to 60 yards is about where I try generally to stay when I'm shooting this gun. So we do sight it in for 50 yards because of that. Now the gun is clean. This gun has some pretty good features, to be honest. Comes with a 10-round magazine, and magazine seems pretty decent. It's not a bad magazine. Had no problems out of it, no failures out of it. Again, this gun was just starting to get a little dirty, and the 1-inch groups are starting to concern me and worry me, considering that when I first got the gun, it was shooting 1/4-inch groups. Now it's shooting a full 1-inch group. So I just wanted to clean, see if that was the issue. But again, I'm gonna get this gun to its break-in period in the next video. Now, why do we clean? Why do we maintain our firearms in this way? If you're a shooter, if you're a hunter, you already know you want your gun in the best condition possible, so that when you take it hunting, when you take it to the range shooting, it's working perfectly every time. Now this gun does have a feature where you can hold the bolt back by pulling back and pushing in. Bolt's held back. Now push back down, pull out, and it releases. Or you can just like that. And the magazine's in there, you pull the bolt back, it'll stop on the magazine. But then so you pull the magazine out, it releases the bolt. Does have a decent enough safety. It's a little blocky, but it's not hard to take off. And double check the gun is clear. Yep, clear. I'll show you the trigger. There's not much room there, but it does have a little travel, but that travel has no weight to it. Once you get all the travel taken up, probably about 7-pound pull. Maybe not the most efficient or the best, but once you get over that 7 pounds, it breaks very fast. Yep. Now, I don't recommend dry firing guns a whole lot unless you've got something in there to dry fire against, like an ejected primer or something of that nature. But no, this gun is halfway clean, I will say, because again, I know there's parts in there that I didn't get to. As you've seen, I didn't take this gun completely apart. This gun did have one problem. I am a shooter that wraps my arm around the sling when I'm hunting, and I pull. That way I get more stabilization. But this stock is polymer plastic, and it's only held in with one screw there and one screw here. There's no screw at the front. So you've got a good foot of polymer plastic where nothing's holding it in place. So when you go to pull, the front end was coming down a little bit. So what I ended up doing was taking a zip tie and throwing it on the front to keep that from happening. Now, if I was carrying this without a sling, that wouldn't be a problem, but because I'm carrying it with a sling and using a sling with it, that is a problem. So just know that before you go to buy this gun, that the front will droop 1/2 inch if you're using the sling and you're wrapping it around your arm to stabilize when you're shooting. That front will droop about 1/2 inch. So that's why the zip tie's on the front. Again, if I was carrying it without the sling, that wouldn't be an issue, that wouldn't be a problem. Blind sights are decent. I can shoot at 50 yards and be accurate with it, but I just wanted the scope for better efficiency. Well, as you can tell, this gun is clean. I didn't do a deep clean, but I wanted to make sure I was getting some of that gunk and junk out of there. Now, I haven't shot this gun but about 150 rounds, and I know I've already said that, but I wanted to emphasize that because, again, this gun is a cheap gun. Any cheap gun you have, whether it be $100, $200, or $300, if it's under the $300 mark, expect there to be a break-in period. Even all the way up to the $500 mark, most firearms will have a break-in period. This one definitely does. And I know I need to shoot about another 150 rounds through it to fully break it in. And once that happens, I know it should start grouping up a whole lot better than it has been. But that being said, I wanted to make sure I got it somewhat clean before this next season started and before I shot those 150 rounds through it. Because I'm going to do that in one sitting. Because I want this gun completely broken in. And I want to make sure that after that, it's shooting the way I want it to shoot. Now, a full inch group at 100 yards with a 22 is not bad, but again, it's giving me an inch group at 50 yards. That needs to be at most a quarter of an inch to a half an inch group. And no, I'm not getting rid of this gun if it's not giving me less than an inch group, because I still take it coon hunting. It's still very light. Most of the time, if I take it hunting and I've got it strapped over my shoulder, sometimes it's easy to even just forget that I have it there because it's so light. And I like that about this gun, so that I'm not carrying around a whole lot of extra weight. But at the same time, I want it to be accurate enough that I can take it squirrel hunting, and the instant I put the crosshairs on a squirrel, know for certain and for sure at 50 yards all the way up to even 100 yards, this is going to bring home the bacon. But I clean my guns again to maintain them, to make sure they're working efficiently and effectively. And I just wanted to make sure this gun, is going to be working right. I wanted to make sure I had it clean so that I knew that there was no errors in that direction. I want to try to take every error out of the equation that I can, such as, is the firearm clean? Am I stabilized when I'm shooting it? I want to make sure it's going to give me good and decent groups. But if it doesn't, I know I need to take it just coon hunting primarily. And that's primarily why I bought this gun, is for coon hunting. Because when you're doing some coon hunting, you're going to be walking a lot. And I wanted a light gun for that. But I also wanted one that I could take squirrel hunting to and have less weight to carry around than the Ruger 1022. Now, I know they sell stocks for the Ruger 1022s that are a whole lot lighter, but that said, this was already light, and I wanted a second 22 rifle in case something happens to one. I've got the other. I've got a backup. But all that said, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna make, the next video should be me shooting 150 rounds through this gun. Once I get done with that, I'm gonna clean it again, but I won't film that again. And we'll go from there on whether this gun should be used just for coon hunting or if I should be able to take it squirrel hunting too. I hope you have a blessed day. If you've got the time, if you've got the money, or if you just got the ammunition, try to go out and throw a little hot lead if you got it. And I'll see you next time.